Black Ram 313, also known as Black Ram for Vengeance, also known as Black Ram the Hebrew. I am also Ib Moore, introspective black man of reform. Back with a video. Want to share some thoughts with you because this shit is therapeutic, man. I need you, brothers. Anyway, this video is about my thoughts on minimalism. The idea of living more with less. As it says in the scriptures, Luke chapter 12, verse 15. Take heed of covetousness, because life is not in the abundance of things which a man possesses. I am a Hebrew, and I do believe in the scripture. For some of you, that's a problem, not my problem. So life is not about how many things you possess. In my journey, my personal journey, the journey of renewing my mind, the journey of divorcing myself from ideals, concepts, moral ways, actions, thought patterns of this Western culture. This is my journey. My goal is to distance myself in mind and then in body from Western and American ideals and cultural concepts. I reject white supremacy, I reject feminism, and I reject consumerism. These three things make up the United States of America and the Western world. White supremacy, feminism, and consumerism. These things go together. Links in the same chain. I refuse to bow down to these things. Now, there are some things that you can't go without. And we know that there are people who are in our lives as bosses and supervisors. But in my own mind and in my own life, I wish to divorce myself from these things, these ideas, and liberate myself from the shame and the guilt and the ill feelings that society would place upon you for those who are not consumeristic. It's almost like consumerism is a religion in and of itself. Whether you're listening to R&B or hip hop or any music genre, the idea is that the value of an individual is based upon wealth. And specifically as black men, we fall victim to this over and over. I am not my job. My job is not me. My employment is a means to an end, and that is the accumulation of money to sustain my life. It does not define who I am as a person. It does not create my value. This is feminist thinking, for it is the woman who would place value upon you, as is most of society, based upon a monetary figure. Reject this, men. Reject the idea that money is everything. Reject the idea that you are not a man unless you make a certain dollar amount. Whether you make minimum wage or high above it, a man is a man is a man. I am not defined by that. I will not allow it. And I encourage you to have the same thoughts and feelings, because life is not about and does not take the shape of the abundance of things which a man possesses. Here at Ibmore, we are deeper than that. Now, we understand that there's a certain freedom that comes with wealth, and that freedom has to do with doing for yourself and developing your own. I'm not discounting that at all. But what I am going against is the gross consumerism that is in the minds of the individuals and as a collective, those who are within the confines of the United States and the Western world. I reject those notions. I have come to the point where I don't need the validation of others to substantiate who I am. It is unnecessary. A woman or anyone cannot shame me for what I have and what I don't have. The whole idea of chasing money is futile. Working your whole life to accumulate material items to make you feel good, for that rush and that high, so that other people can see you. Do you realize when you're driving in a car, you can't see the outside of your car? If you have a beautiful car, and there are nice cars, Benz and BMW and whatever. When you're driving that thing, you can't see yourself driving it. You're concentrating on the road. But we don't drive cars, most of us in this American culture, because we like them. We drive cars because other people like them. Now, again, there's a point within men who they like specific cars because of the horsepower, because of the torque, and because they put the work into it. But for the most part, the car we drive identifies us in this society of being either wealthy or not. My car is a 2005. It is now 2016, and I hope to keep that car till 2020. Why? Because why spend my hard-earned money enriching the corporations? Why spend my hard-earned money to put wealth in someone else's pocket just so I can look good and appeal to someone who doesn't give a damn about me? I reject these things. I'm divorcing you, America. I'm divorcing this culture to the best of my ability, and it is a journey, and yes, sometimes it is a struggle. Think about people who work hard at a job they hate 20, 30, 40 years. In the rat race, buying things, consuming things, just to retire and die. And all you were for your whole life is a consumer. You are a slave. I've heard people say if they were rich that they would still want to work. You have a working class mentality. You have a consumeristic mentality. The value of the life of the sheeple, the blue pillars, the uninformed, the ignorant is one of servitude to corporations and the government by working your whole life and buying things. This is a low-level base thinking. Every time you turn on television, it's consume, 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 consume. In fact, the pursuit of money in and of itself in American culture is considered a virtue. I say again, the pursuit of money itself in American culture is a virtue. To chase materialism. You're considered a great person if you're ambitious in seeking more and more money, seeking that promotion, going back to school and getting more education, which, by the way, only lends you into more and more debt. When you think about an education, let's say you go into graduate school and you accumulate the bachelor's, the master's, and the PhD. And let's say you become a medical doctor, or let's say you become a professor. Well, you have to take into account your debt to income ratio. You are now hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and although you may make 6 figures per year, is it really 6 figures? When you add in your student loans, when you add in your mortgage, when you add in your car note, when you add in your consumer credit card debt, are you really making anything? Can you really afford to pay yourself? It's a trap, an illusion. The illusion that everyone can become rich in this society. which is not so. Everyone within them thinks that one day I'm going to arrive at this marvelous place when I have all the money I could ever desire to have. That day won't come for you. That idea is as useless and as futile as playing the lottery, which your odds are billions in one. You have been tricked and deceived. You have been led astray, chasing money. And for what? So a woman can look at you and give you that nasty coochie that she's given to so many other men, so that you can marry her and put a ring on it, so she can see you as valuable, so she can validate your existence as a man, so that society can smile at you. For what? Working yourself to death, going into debt for that? For an old nasty coochie? For people who don't care about you? How foolish are we? Money is just a tool. And that's all it should be. Again, it should not define you as a person. So in minimalism, living more with less, there are certain trade-offs. I was cleaning up my apartment and throwing away things that I no longer used or needed. Trying to consolidate collections of things into one and trying to get rid of clutter and realizing that I don't need to buy gadgets and devices and so on and so forth, clothes. I'm a simple man who dressed simply. And when you're not worrying about impressing women, you don't need a new pair of gym shoes every few months, which is feminist way of thinking anyway. You don't need the newest outfit, the latest gear, the newest toy. Even my cell phone is about 3 or 4 years old. As long as it's working, I plan to keep it. Minimalist. And one day, hopefully, my goal will be to one day live off the grid in a rural area, particularly in the South, with the bare minimum of things that I need, and be able to afford cheap housing in which I could probably work a part-time job and pay off the mortgage. I was thinking, and moving to certain areas in the South, certain rural areas, if you can get a piece of property that costs 60, 70,000, although it may be way out in a rural and isolated area, as long as you can get to town within 30 minutes to an hour. If you can get a mortgage under $60,000, $70,000 with the property taxes in some of these places, we're talking about mortgage, insurance, and property taxes and all those things being under $500. Now, what if I can just work 30 hours a week? I could more than pay that mortgage. And what I would get in return is my time. Time to do what? Time to pursue my spiritual development. Time to pursue intellectual things such as reading and exploring areas of science. To develop myself as an individual. To focus less on the material and the external and more on the internal. To less on the superficial to that what is meaningful. To develop myself, to develop oneself spiritually and mentally, and nourish myself in those things. Spending time not on the accumulation of wealth and resources, but spending my time in my own spiritual development. Having my time. Because in my mind, time is the most precious commodity, one in which you can't get back. The time that you took to listen to this video, you will never get those minutes back. Never. Which is part of the reason why I don't understand why somebody will listen to a whole video of mine, or even part of it, just to come in the comment section to disagree and tell me how stupid I am. But you're the stupid one if you're listening to a video for 14 minutes or an hour that you disagree with. How ridiculous is that? Anyway, I would never understand the complete mindset of the blue pillars and the simps and the lames and the feminists In other words, you bitches out there. Anyway, so my goal here is to limit my desires for materials, to limit my and get over my fascination with material wealth and gain, to get out of the mindset that one day that I would accumulate great riches, to break myself from that and go on to bigger and better pursuits. Materialism, in the worship of it, is the ultimate form of bending and submitting and looking for female validation. How much time would you spend in your appearance? How much money would you spend on yourself to enhance your appearance? How much would you care about a fancy car if it wasn't for the female? Part of the red pill is getting over your obsession with the female. Not only by understanding female nature, but understanding your nature as well. And understanding the culture and the context in which we now live. So my goal is to limit my desire, which would be to limit my suffering. It would give me more time to pursue my passions. Because I believe that's the essence of man, your passion. And in my journey to live a specific way of homesteading off the grid, there's a peace that comes with simplicity. There's a peace that comes with not looking for validation from not only the female but the rest of society. There's a simplicity and a peace that comes on you, and a tranquility that's involved with divorcing yourself from American culture, with divorcing yourself from the need to consume, consume, consume. Herein lies freedom. This is liberation. This is my goal. So I want to encourage as many as possible to break the chains of American consumerism, feminism, and white supremacy. To come out of the mindset of living for the validation of others. And to reside in your strength of being who you are and understanding that you are unique, that you are different, that you are a red pillar, that you are an Israelite. And if that's not your persuasion, that you're just a man who is free to pursue your dreams and not the dreams and goals of society, such as more and more and more money. I daydream about chopping wood and putting it into a fire. I daydream about gardening and going into my backyard and grabbing all manner of vegetables and making my own salad right from my backyard. Working a part-time job and at sometimes no job at all. And spending my time reading books galore. Reading old books, newer books, a huge library. You need time for that. And to me, that is fulfillment. The pursuit of knowledge is fulfillment to me. And that's my goal. And I understand it maybe not be the goal for many of you. And you want to get this money. Every rap song today, hip hop song, whatever you want to call it, it's about getting this money. Get this money. Well, that's just what the global elite, the corporations, the masses, the society wants you to do. Go and get that money, which you can never have enough, which you will never be satisfied. So I'm in the process of giving up. I quit America. I'm going to go a different way. I'm going to be introspective and look inside and develop that. I'm going to seek after the Most High. And I want to live in simplicity and in quietness. That's what minimalism means to me. Black Ram 313. I am out.